This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
For 20 years, you had Obama and George W. Bush's Department of Justice go easy on this guy. They didn't fully investigate the case. They didn't show any curiosity about the case. And now Donald J. Trump is asking his Department of Justice to show full transparency. And somehow that's a criticism of Donald J. Trump and not Barack Obama and George W. Bush. If you want to criticize the people who aren't showing full transparency, you ought to go after the administrations that went easy on Jeffrey Epstein, the administrations that concealed this case for 20 years, and the administrations that failed to show full transparency.
When a former president's carefully polished image collides with the blunt force of unfiltered truth, the cracks don't just show, they explode. Joe Rogan comes in swinging with the precision of a sniper and the weight of a wrecking ball, tearing through Barack Obama's curated legacy with brutal honesty, while J.D. Vance lands sharp, unexpected jabs that leave no room for political spin. What starts as a playful roast quickly transforms into a full-scale demolition, ripping away the glossy facade to expose the uncomfortable reality hiding underneath.
Full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto-penned.
You know, first of all, I don't believe, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whether you agree with Donald Trump or disagree with him, I don't believe in hectoring voters. I believe in persuading voters. Your support is not something I'm given or something I'm owed. It's something you got to go out there and work for. So one, I just don't like the tone of going in. I mean, look, the better question for Barack Obama or anybody to ask is not why black men, it's not how dare you not vote for Kamala Harris.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, because the real takedown begins now. Rogan kicks things off by targeting the parts of Obama's image his fans never want to discuss. The carefully cultivated persona, smooth speeches, and signature pauses that once made half the country swoon like they were hearing poetry instead of policy. But Rogan doesn't buy the illusion and slices through the charm like cheap drywall, pointing out how behind all the charisma stood a politician who mastered the art of looking busy while doing less than a DMV clerk on a Friday afternoon. Rogan paints Obama as a man who could sell hope like a premium product, but when the cameras shut off, he couldn't deliver it without a teleprompter, a team of writers, and an audience willing to forget 8 years of mixed results.
Seen it? No. He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
it's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him.
Rogan reframes Obama's legacy, not as one of transformation, but of branding genius. He argues that Obama wasn't a trailblazer, but a master salesman, a walking, talking marketing campaign, capable of convincing millions that half measures were bold moves and foreign policy blunders were somehow 12-dimensional chess. Rogan demolishes the idea that the Affordable Care Act was an untouchable miracle, reminding viewers how it was riddled with loopholes, price hikes, and broken promises faster than a tech startup going bankrupt before launch. To Rogan, Obama didn't change the system. He just sold a product with hidden fees and made people believe they were getting a bargain.
I think the best people age the hardest. I think Obama was probably like a very idealistic young man
Oh, Lord, what's going on now? Who's hollering? I can't even see it.
who really wanted to change the world. And that dude aged more than anybody.
I mean, I'm getting old, so I can't hear that well. I can't see that good.
Who aged the least? Trump. Trump just
This is something that
he just brushed that shit off his shoulders like it was nothing.
We knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the...
Rogan then writes into America's obsession with image over substance, laughing at how a simple tan suit once became a week-long national scandal under Obama's watch. Not because the suit mattered, but because the media used every excuse to fawn over him instead of questioning why certain wars continued years after he promised to end them. Rogan hammers the absurdity, saying Obama could drone strike a wedding in the Middle East and still land a Vogue cover a month later, proving that style points don't rebuild cities, pay bills, or fix broken systems.
The amount of backstabbing that's going on.
That's a very disrespectful attack on the American people who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic, which has been undermined by President Obama through his direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies.
Like when she got into office, you realize like you're not really in control of everything because there's another person who's in control of each individual department. And they'll stop whatever you're trying to do every step of the way. They get in the way of everything. What are you going to do? You're going to replace everybody?
Just when Rogan's roasting reaches full speed, J.D. Vance steps in for his first calculated strike, taking aim at Obama's supposed connection to the working class. Vance dismantles the narrative that Obama was ever one of them, exposing how he loved to talk about middle America, but treated it more like a campaign backdrop than a priority. Under Obama's watch, jobs in the Rust Belt didn't magically reappear. They vanished faster, replaced by speeches about the inevitability of globalization. Vance lands his point hard, making Obama's carefully staged Midwestern photo ops look like nothing more than political theater.
Obama, during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about...
Rogan jumps back in, mocking how Obama became the Democrats' ultimate moral high ground salesman. He highlights the irony of someone preaching transparency while running one of the most secretive administrations in decades. From targeting whistleblowers through the DOJ to cozy deals with Silicon Valley, Rogan argues Obama didn't just play the political game. He rewrote the rulebook on hiding the ball while looking noble doing it. Then, Rogan twists the knife, comparing Obama's Nobel Peace Prize to awarding a championship trophy before the season even starts, pointing out how once in office, the peace part took a backseat to maintaining the status quo. As Rogan paints a vivid picture of post-presidency Obama lounging on yachts, cashing Netflix deals, and charging 6 figures for speeches to the very corporations he once promised to hold accountable, the hypocrisy practically writes itself.
It's fun because things are actually happening. Very different than most of the time when people get elected.
And I will shut down the Federal Department of Education, and we will move everything back to the state.
Most of the time when people get elected, they claim all these things when they're running for president. Then they get into office and not much changes.
Individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
No, I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination.
J.D. Vance takes his second swing, targeting Obama's mastery of racial politics. But instead of celebrating breakthroughs, Vance argues Obama used his identity as a shield against criticism, creating an environment where disagreeing with him often meant being labeled morally suspect. While delivering soaring speeches about unity, Vance says Obama allowed policies that could have closed wealth gaps.
Well, let me say just a couple of things. First of all, the president has been very clear. We're not shielding anything. The president has directed the attorney general to release all credible information and, frankly, to go and find additional credible information related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. He's been incredibly transparent about that stuff, but some of that stuff takes time. You've got to assemble that stuff. You've got to compile that stuff.
Rogan seizes the moment to drag Obama's foreign policy back into the spotlight. He dismantles the no-drama Obama myth by laying out chaos in Libya, the endless quagmire in Afghanistan, and the infamous red line in Syria that was drawn, erased, and redrawn so many times it resembled a bad Etch-a-Sketch. Rogan drives the point home. While Obama sounded like a statesman, his decisions on the global stage often left allies confused and enemies emboldened, proving it wasn't leadership, but cautious calculation wrapped in elegant speeches.
Obama did it, and it's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
See, that's crazy. I have never seen that last part of it
because the news has said that lie over and over and over and over.
The roast turns personal when Rogan highlights the cult-like worship Obama still enjoys in certain circles. He laughs at how some treat him like a retired superhero who could swoop in and save America at any moment, while ignoring that many of today's problems trace back to his policies. J.D. Vance lands his final blow, zeroing in on Obama's role in shaping the Democratic Party's modern identity crisis. Vance argues Obama's obsession with style over substance trained a generation of politicians to value branding over results, saying today's Instagram-driven politics, where likes matter more than legislation, was born from Obama's playbook, and the reality lands with a thud.
I've had candid conversations with Tulsi Gabbard about what it was like.
It's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal.
She's a person, tries to be friends with everybody, tries to reach across the aisle. She's got that whole aloha spirit.
The answer to that statement can very clearly be found throughout all of the documents that we have released, showing that Russia has took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against any.
Rogan goes into the kill shot, tying every point together in a brutal finale. He paints Obama as the ultimate political illusionist, distracting the crowd with charisma, while the real work, or lack of it, happened behind the curtain. It wasn't hope and change. It was hope as a brand and change as a buzzword. Rogan says Obama could make half the country believe the scoreboard was broken, even while the other team kept scoring points. To Rogan and Vance, Obama isn't a tragic hero or a villain. He's a cautionary tale about what happens when a nation falls in love with presentation over performance, proving that behind every perfect pause and flawless smile was a masterclass in selling well-packaged mediocrity.
Nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
When he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling the watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Rogan's dismantling of Obama's mythical political instincts is surgical. He doesn't just point out mistakes. He exposes the intentional dodges, the habit of throwing out grand promises only to quietly pivot when it came time to deliver. To Rogan, this isn't bad leadership. It's political performance art, where applause mattered more than results. J.D. Vance steps in to hit one target: Obama's self-proclaimed legacy on middle-class revitalization. Vance tears it apart brick by brick, showing how manufacturing jobs didn't flood back, wages didn't skyrocket, and working-class communities were left with little more than photo ops and polished speeches.
Remember when they gave that speech, when he gave a speech on television, and everybody was like, fuck this. And then they were, it kind of just went away.
It was one of the most beautiful moments in modern American history. People really actually stood up and stopped a war from happening.
Today, I authorize the armed forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya in support of an international effort to protect Libyan civilians.
Rogan then ties it all together, exposing how Obama's post-presidency lifestyle contradicts the very values he once preached. From Netflix deals and multi-million-dollar book tours to lavish estates and elite vacations, Rogan mocks how Obama evolved from politician to billion-dollar brand ambassador. The roast isn't angry, it's mocking, dripping with sarcastic disbelief at how so many overlooked the contradictions. Vance drops the final hammer, reminding viewers that the Obama years weren't a golden age, but the warm-up act for the political chaos that followed. By the time Rogan and Vance are finished, Obama's carefully guarded image isn't just dented, it's shattered, leaving behind not the legend of a transformative leader, but the reality of a politician who sold style as substance and left the nation grappling with the consequences.